You are listening to Heroes Never Die, your one-stop spot for all the latest news, Overwatch League results, and mishaps in Overwatch. Here are your hosts, Totemly Drunk and Edinar.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Heroes Never Die, your one-stop spot for all things Overwatch. I am your host, Tumbly Drunk. Tonight on episode 211, we're going to be taking a look at the most recent news around Overwatch, its competitive scene, and of course, we have the Overwatch 4-year anniversary event, which is officially underway. And good to see some of our predictions coming to fruition on that front. But before we get into the news for tonight and introduce you to my co-host, let me just quickly take a moment to thank any one of you who have joined us tonight on Twitch. Knowing that Discord is currently down and I'm not able to advertise that we are live, so if you follow us on Twitter and you manage to find that tweet and follow it here, all the more power to you, and I do want to thank all of our repeat listeners out there. So joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host, Edinar. And Ed, you know, it seems like every week the landscape here for the Overwatch League has kind of changed. We got, one thing in particular that is a little long overdue in regard to the Overwatch League. We got a ton of player movements. We got the Melee happening this weekend, and we really won't know the NA side until Friday. But all in all, like, there's a lot to kind of, like, dive into, including the anniversary event. So, you know, just as a quick reminder, make sure that you log in, get that free golden loot box, because you never know what you might get. Because I know in mine, I got the little red skin for Ashe right off the bat, so I was really happy. That is 3,000 less currency that I have to spend, and I can use that towards one of the other legendaries. But we'll talk more about the skins in our main discussion. But, you know, looking back, Ed, how has the week been treating you?
It's been pretty good. A little bit chaotic here and there. Lots of games to play. Saturday was my birthday, so we did the Goofy movie and Biodome watch party, which was a lot of fun. And then Sunday was spent mainly curled up in the fetal position.
Sunday was recovery.
It was a hardcore recovery day. I haven't had a recovery day like that in a long, long while. So yeah, it was fun. Let's just go with that. But yeah, it's got some good. I went through. I got my legendary loot box, and all that stuff, and then I actually got 2 legendaries out of it. 2 legendaries and an epic in that loot box, and then I just basically went and bought everything I wanted to.
There you go.
Like, I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and buy, and I still have like 4,000 currency left.
Nice.
So, how's your week been?
It's been good. This weekend in itself is probably gonna be fairly hectic. I don't know how much of Overwatch League I'll catch, just because this weekend there's the AEW pay-per-view on Saturday. I'm also doing the online Chattanooga Film Festival, so I'm gonna be checking out, any sort of world premieres going on there, getting some more reviews out for Handle with Scare. But it's been a pretty good week. I haven't gotten too much of an opportunity to, hop in and play some Overwatch as of yet, but I did, at least log in to check out all of the cosmetics that were added along with the anniversary event. And, as soon as I got the little red skin for Ashe, it was an immediate equip and tweet on that front. But all in all, like, Hearthstone's been kind of like up and down, but I'm trying to get back to 6K, not quite there yet. Hopefully I'll be back there in time for Tavern Tales tomorrow. But
what are you at now?
Hold on. I can tell you it's 59.77.
So a top 4 finish.
Basically a top 4.
Basically a top 4.
Well, probably a 3 or above would do it, because usually when I get 4th, it's like 16 points. I don't want that. I need top 3 in that
I
regard.
got fourth this week and got -13.
Nice.
Yeah, that was skillful.
Yeah, I mean, you would find a way to lose even when you win.
Exactly.
But anyways, let's go ahead and let's jump into the news. So I want to preface this by saying, I know the anniversary event is going on, and we easily could have just been like, you know what, we're just going to put all of that at the start. We're not doing that. All of that stuff will be talked about in the main discussion, both the event along with the patch details. Let's talk esports first, and then we'll transition into general Overwatch. So quite a bit of player movement here. This past week, we have really, like, as I mentioned a couple of times now, you know, for the first time ever, we have former members of both Runaway and Lunatic High competing on the same roster with one another. And that happened due to the Seoul Dynasty going out and picking up the former Vancouver Titans main support Slime. So at that given moment, Slime was the first of those former Titans players to join a new team. But there are quite a few former Titans players finding some new homes. Granted, one of them might be temporary. We'll have to wait and see how that's going to shake up. But, you know, the sign-in does bring the Dynasty roster up to 10 players. Now, that being said, you're going to have Slime and Toby both playing main support. And, of course, you know, you still have, like, Bedosian and Creative for the flex support position. And, you know, like, we've seen a lot of interesting compositions in regards to support lines, whether it is a BAP Zen, so some teams opt in to run, like, double flex support. We've seen, like, Anna BAP, Anna Lucio, kind of like everything in between. So, you know, we've seen moments where it's been, you know, traditionally main support, flex support, or double flex support. So, you know, looking at this particular sign-in coming in, you know, I feel like Toby, you know, being the only remaining player really from, you know, that initial Dynasty roster, being the sole survivor, so to speak. I was really worried about him going into this season, and I feel like if we're talking about Lucio v. Lucio, I feel like Slime 11 times out of 10 is going to outperform Toby in that particular role. But Toby has been showing quite a bit in regards to the Baptiste. So, you know, moving forward, what are you expecting to see out of this support line, knowing that the Dynasty have just had so many moving parts, and it's so hard to get a read on where this team is, knowing that they have really lost like 4 of their past 5 matches here?
I would say, all right, so we talked about this a little bit on OWL by the numbers last night when we were talking about Moth, but the Slime is arguably, it's basically him and Moth for best main support in the Overwatch League. I think it kind of comes down to that, and you're not going to get much argument from people. So like the thing is you're not signing arguably the best main support to not play him. Now, will I say that you know, Toby will not see any play time? No, I still think he will. Map specific type of situations. But I don't think we're going to be seeing him a lot. Like, I'd say it's probably like a 90-10 split. Would be my guess. But who knows with Soul, honestly. Like, let's be real here. So, would you be that shocked if Soul ran Slime and Toby, and not Bedosian? Probably not.
I think if we're seeing like Bap Lucio, that wouldn't be too much of a surprise.
Yeah. So, who knows what the heck they're gonna do? But yeah, no, this was a great signing. This is like the least heralded Titan player that like was out there. Really, like, out of the big names, he was definitely the least like, okay, this is a big name here. You know, he's not the Janu, he's not the Fissure, he's not, you know, Haxel, Twilight, you know, it's Slime, but he was probably one of the most consistent and best players on that team. last year. So this was a great pickup by Seoul. Good for them.
Yeah, and on the note about Lunatic High and Runaway, they are doing a show match here coming up. That I'm trying to remember what day it's on, but what I do know is we have some of the old school lineups for both teams. So participating in this, we have for Runaway, we have Runner, Hoxel, Stitch, Bumper, Kaiser, and Twilight. And then representing the Lunatic High, we have Toby, Miro, Huargu, Leetijin, Zunba, and Guido. Kind of unfortunate we don't have Jahan for Lunatic High in this case, but I am looking forward to this particular show match, which is coming up towards the end of the month. And of course, I don't have the full tweet thread on hand right now, so I cannot tell you what day in particular that is, but it's coming up. So keep your eyes on that. So nice throwback. You know, it's not every day that we get to see a show match between former rosters, let alone ones that have like that much magnitude in regards to like yesteryear of Overwatch. So definitely a throwback. So definitely keep. I'll let you guys know like when that's happening. Once I find the tweet, and I'll post info in the Discord. Assuming that Discord is going to be working by the time we finish. But anyways. Outside, speaking of like former Titans players, we have Janu and Stitch both finding a new home on the Washington Justice, who have signed both of these players to 14-day contracts. Now, those 2-week contracts were added fairly late this past week, and it was added to the league rules in response to, everything going on with the pandemic, and, some teams coming in only having, like, the bare minimum in regards to, like, roster slots. And, these are 2 players that came in, made their immediate debuts in a losing effort against the Florida Mayhem. The Mayhem ended up taking that series against the Justice 3-1, and in doing so, finished second in regards to the seeding for the North America side of the May Melee tournament. Now, looking at this, obviously a lot of people are like, well, what exactly does this mean for Elite Vote? A lot of people who look at the Justice will probably be like, Elite Vote hasn't really been the problem on this roster. And, there's other players who we haven't seen play, despite, players from other regions play in with pain differentials. Similar to what we've seen with like KSA from the Titans, same with Fielder for the Paris Eternal. Lulsish, nowhere to be found in any of this. But, unfortunately for a player like Elite Vote, Janu immediately came in, got the starting nod, which obviously if this player's on like a 2-week contract, you can't be that surprised by it. But a lot of people are like, well, you're basically benching one of the most staple pieces of this roster in favor of playing someone who might not even be on this team long term. Now, looking at the 14-day contract really quick, Ed, if you're one of these former Titans players and you're going to a team that has consistently been dropping the ball throughout the entirety of this season, like, if you have a couple of losses under your belt during this 2-week stint, like, are you really that motivated to stay on this roster?
I mean, it just depends. Because, like, they're basically doing a full rebuild of the team almost at this point. They kind of almost got forced to with Corey and Stratus leaving. And I don't know if I'd read too much into the 14-day contract. Like, I feel like they wouldn't have been 14-day contracts, but also pending league approval. I think they're just 14-day contracts while while the league approves a contract type of situation. So yeah, I don't know. I would stick around if I was them because, obviously they're going to be making a lot of changes. Looks like all signs point to an all-Korean roster, all-Korean organization as well. Um. So yeah, it's maybe they stick around because, well, for starters, they don't have to compete with anybody.
I
Like,
I would say I feel like in this case, or really with anyone that's going to a 14-day contract, it could just boil down to what sort of offers were on the table. Because for all we know, like this might have been the only offer that was thrown their way at this given time.
and that could very well be. I just, I just don't. I I mean, we'll find out in like a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
If they're still on the team, then they got signed to a full contract. But right now, I'd probably say it's 50-50 that they will be with the team at least through the rest of the year,
Yeah, and
and maybe beyond.
given some of the other changes that we'll talk about with the Justice, I feel like it's a safer bet that they'll probably will stick around. So earlier today, there was a little bit of a commotion on, Overwatch League social media. Primarily revolving around the Washington Justice and a tweet that they sent out where they had announced that they were releasing two of their administration, essentially. So the team announced that, and I'm going to quote this, to better equip our competitive team for success. That's the exact phrasing they use. They are releasing Baolin, who is their general manager, and Bonnie, who I want to say was a player coach on this roster.
Was he a player coach? Okay. That could have been how they
Yes.
got away with having such a limited roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
If that was the case.
So Baldwin and Bonnie both released immediately from their roles. And like a lot of people look at the phrasing of the tweet and everyone is just like, yikes. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people calling out, maybe you guys should hire someone for PR. It was worded poorly. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. It's definitely not going to be the last time this is going to happen. From really any Overwatch League team. It could happen to anyone. But it does feel very reminiscent of what we saw to say, what the Florida Mayhem were going through this past season when they went to an all-Korean roster, and it kind of made that transition. Now, just looking back at the additions of Korean talent and knowing that they did start a full Korean roster this past week, I feel like it's a pretty safe bet at this point which direction they are going to go. So I guess at the end of the day, what's going to be happening with, their EU talent? Do you think they're going to try to trade them off, or are they just going to ride out the rest of their contract? What are you feeling is going to happen to, players like an Ellie Vote or a Lolsish?
Well, yeah. Essentially, they have one European player because Lalish has been on the team for a year and has not seen the light of day. So that's a whole different issue where I'm not even sure if they're truly paying.
Well, that depends if they let him out of the house.
Yeah. So Lullish, I don't know. Maybe he gets traded. Maybe he gets released. Maybe they just keep him riding the bench just in case something happens. But I fully expect them to go all Korean at this point. Yeah, there's no other reason to fire the non-Korean coaches and general managers because Ballin was the GM of the team, right?
Yes.
No, oh yeah, she was the GM. So like, yeah, it is just, going to see up who the actual coaching staff is.
Well, you got John Galt, who was with the LA Gladiators prior, Supreme, Wiz, and I think that's it. I think it's just a 3-man crew now.
And John Galt is from Singapore, so that is very non-Singapore name. Just gonna throw that out there. But yeah, I fully expect them to go with the Korean route. Just because look at what they brought in, look at what they actually have. They brought in the Korean players. Why throw a wrench into it with one non-Korean speaking player? So, and you know what? It's a smart move on their part because one of the best all Korean teams just got released at the same time. So it's just like, yeah. Now, will it hurt them being on the ping? Oh, 100% it will. But they're playing the long game, not the short. Because soon they will probably be able to make their way over here, if needed.
Yeah,
so
I'd honestly be curious to see whether or not there's going to be a little bit of a break after the May Melee, because we know that there are players out there that have to return to their home country in order for to reapply for visas. So who knows? Like maybe we might see a little bit of a break here. But one way or another, like obviously Washington throughout the season hasn't had the best luck. I don't think they could do much worse. So just give them a little bit of time to get some synergy, and hopefully the signings will work out for them. But either way, like I am happy to see so many Titans players finding new homes. Unfortunately, it's not all of them as of yet. But it still does hurt to see Runaway getting so fragmented. So I'll be curious to see if there's any more pairs gonna happen here in the near future with the former Titans players or not. Now that being said, there was another Titans player that did find a new home, and there were kind of a couple of moves here that kind of coincide with one another. So we're primarily looking at the Hangzhou Spark and the San Francisco Shock. So the Shock sent Architect over to the Hangzhou Spark, who, for them, this is an absolute massive get. This is a team that has constantly had an issue with a second DPS. They've really kind of lacked that flexibility at that particular position. And this is someone that the Spark have been essentially trying to acquire from the Shock since the off-season, because Architect did play with that X6 gaming core that makes up the Hangzhou Spark. Now, so you're already going to think, okay, this team already has some synergy. So, might be like riding a bike. Maybe they'll just, pick up as if nothing had ever happened, or there wasn't a lull period, anything like that. But this was basically a response for the Spark after they had seen their hitscan DPS player, Bozzy, retiring from competitive Overwatch. I also note, their assistant coach, had also, I think it got released, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
Now, I do want to mention that, there were a lot of talk about the Spark and Gushue primarily having to go back to China in order to reapply for his visa, and we do have confirmation that they are competing in the May Melee. Gushue's whole situation will be handled in June for that 2-week period. So during those 2 weeks, don't expect to see the Hangzhou Spark on the Overwatch League schedule. But looking at the other side, so, Shock, they got rid of Architect, and then they went out and they picked up another flex support option in Twilight, formerly of the Vancouver Titans. So I have to say, looking at this, Ana play in particular has always kind of been a question mark about, okay, who's going to be playing what? Because at times, Architect would just come in and play, whatever. It wasn't an odd thing to see him coming in playing Ana or Baptiste for this team, whether it was, this season or last season. And now they went out and they picked up one of the more highly sought-after flex supports in the league. So, it's going to be interesting. What's going to happen to Violet at this point? Are we going to see a split between him and Twilight moving forward? But one way or another, a lot of people's, knee-jerk reaction to this were like, oh, come on. Is that even allowed?
Right. Yeah, the Shock were one of the few teams that could definitely bear to lose a DPS, even after losing Sinatra, because you have Striker, Rascal, and Anis. there, and Rascal is the ultimate flex, and Striker is just real good. So yeah, they did that. Then they bolstered the depth at support just a little, and probably got the best support lineup now with Twilight and Moth, because you're getting Twilight, who's a top 3-4 flex support, and Moth, who is arguably the best main support. This team is still ridiculously stacked. I will say this: remember when we used to always think that this was such a diverse team, and now it's not. It's like Super and Moth, and then the rest of the team is Korean. That's it. So it's like, all right, there goes that diversity, but they're still ridiculously stacked. I'm wondering how much longer Super is going to be sticking around. That's just me. I'm not saying that like he retires to go Valorant, is more of how much longer until he's not playing type of situation.
Then again, I feel like you and I can have that discussion about a lot of players in the league, just seeing how much turnover we have had this season. Well, at least with everything going on, there is a little bit of good news for, people that like to watch the Overwatch League, and that is the fact that we can finally, this season, earn some Overwatch League tokens. Took a little bit of time. We surely and slowly got there. But you can start earning tokens starting on Friday, May 22nd, by watching live matches on the Overwatch League website, the mobile website, or through the Overwatch League application. And I know what you're thinking. Gee, Totem, what about YouTube?
Gee, Totem, what about YouTube?
No. I know you're like, well, that's kind of a yikes. Okay, I will say this, Ed. Just to clarify things, when you are watching via the website, they do embed YouTube. That's the player that they still use on the site, so it's not like you're going to see a viewership dip due to the fact that everyone's going to be watching via the website, or the mobile site, or the mobile app, anything like that. But, initially, that was my gut reaction too. I was like, wait a minute. This doesn't add up. But it was just one of those things, though, because, when you really think about it, there have been other game titles out there that do have a drop system for YouTube. And, for whatever reason, I don't know what that reason is, but for whatever reason, it hasn't applied to the Overwatch League. And it just baffles me knowing that, they already had something in place. They signed with YouTube. And it's just like, oh, well, we're waiting months on end to, be able to, acquire some more skins rather than having to, purchase tokens. And, here we are months later, and we still can't do that via YouTube.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It's whatever. I will say this, though. At least with this method, I don't have to bother reading YouTube chat. Not that I would anyways, because I would never do that on Twitch either. But I know, for some people out there, that is probably going to be a fairly big deal for them. Just less clutter, and they can just focus on the games and all of that. So basically, how this works is you are going to earn 5 Overwatch League tokens every hour. That seems like very few when you consider the cost of the actual skins. But I will note, the view-in time is tracked continuously. So, if you only watch for 30 minutes and then you leave, if you come back, it's just going to pick up right where you left off in regards to your watch time in that regard. But you will need to log into your Blizzard account either on the website or the app in order to earn and redeem your tokens. So after all of this time, Ed, finally we got token drops. Viewership not been good. I mean, flat out pretty bad since the move over to YouTube. Do you see drops or tokens, being applied now? What are you thinking about a differential in regards to the viewership? Are we going to see an uptick? Is it going to kind of level off? What are you feeling here?
I mean, you're gonna get an uptick. Anytime you offer free stuff, you're gonna get an uptick in viewers. Like that's just a given. Now, what I will say is, now I know that you said that the YouTube is embedded into all this stuff, but when you're on YouTube, do you see those views as well? I don't think so.
I don't know because I don't watch via the site ever. It's just like we'll find out this weekend.
Yeah, because like if anything, I'd say we might see like what you actually see is probably going to be less like a downtick. Because people if will be watching it more so on like the Overwatch League website and stuff like that, and not on not on actual YouTube. Now if it's embedded and then you're watching the YouTube video and you'll see like kind of all the people who are watching it on the website is tied in with the YouTube number, then you'll get a realistic view. But yeah, the viewership numbers need to go up because this is pretty pathetic.
I was looking at that number, like really five per hour.
That's what 20.
Yeah. Last I checked.
Hours.
Yeah, last I checked, the skins were still 100 tokens. So yeah, 20 hours for one skin. And if you think about it, Ed, due to the format changes that we have seen, things no longer being, guaranteed 4 maps. We've had quite a few series that haven't even lasted an hour. So it's just like, ugh, you're only making matters that much worse.
What did it used to be?
Okay.
There's one per map, but then you had like,
it's on a map basis, yeah.
But then you had like the big thing is the only way you were actually able ever to afford one is if you got the random 100 whatever drop.
Right. And I do have a comment from Reddit from John Spector about token per hours in the old system. He went on to say that the average token per hour, and this was, including the per map basis as well as the token drop system that Twitch had, the average token per hour last season was 4.3.
Okay. We're going to get... Yeah.
So,
now,
essentially...
That is one of those things where the number is in your favor, but it's not realistic.
Right. Because...
It's just not.
Because... There were plenty of times where you would just see a long drought of you not getting, like, 100 drop at all.
Exactly. So that's the thing that's skewed is if you have no 100 drops, like take away the 100 drop out of that 4.3 equation and then tell me what it is. Like that's what I want to. Like take away all the 100 token drops, and if that number is above a 3, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So, and the simple fact you take the 100 tokens out, someone would have to watch. God, I wonder if it's actually going to be just 100 hour or 20 hours on the actual stream or 20 hours of matches.
It would be on stream.
Okay. So all the fluff and bullshit that we have to put up with. Okay. That's it.
Now, to be honest, I don't know if the average token per hour included drops or if it included, say, the league pick system that was also implemented last season, which was also kind of a shit show in its own ways. But it was, another way to actually earn tokens along with it. But either way, it is going to be a net improvement in regards to token per hour, with this new system. But it's probably not going to feel all that great waiting 20 hours just to purchase a skin at this point. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if they make any sort of adjustments. Which if this season has been any indicator, fairly likely. But we'll just have to wait and see. Either way, I know a lot of people are happy that they can get tokens again. We'll see how happy they are without random 100 token drops.
Yeah, and that's going to be the thing. People are going to be complaining, being like, I've watched for 2 weeks and I'm a quarter of the way to getting a new skin.
Right.
Like, that's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to annoy the hell out of me, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Now, moving into our main discussion, of course, we did have a new patch that dropped yesterday. That'd be Tuesday, May 19th. And I will quickly comment, this patch is a rebase, so it is relatively large in size for the download, regardless of what platform you are on. So, keep note of that. So, with this patch, quite a bit here, we have the Overwatch Anniversary event for 2020 that is live. Of course, we'll be talking cosmetics, all that good stuff here in just a bit. This does include the improved communication wheel, added as a new feature. So, you have options to fully customize the wheel. I know they added a ton of shortcuts in regards to having 26 different options or whatever. They also added more keybinds for you to use to support voiceover lines for communications and things like that. And they also added the in-game client patch notes, so you no longer have to go outside of the game in order to read all of that, which will be happy. But Ed, something that we didn't talk about in the past that they did add to this is something that I'm happy about, and I feel like you might be, just in the sense that you get to annoy people that much more, is that you can now reset the basketballs in the control map dropship.
Well, that's annoying. How am I supposed to... I don't like that. Because now, I spite people, but they can just be like, well, I'm just going to reset the basketball. So I have to continuously pay attention to try and spite them.
Yeah, it's like playing whack-a-mole.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, that figures. Outside of that, they also tweaked play of the game, where that's seen a number of scoring factors return in, to help emphasize more active participation in fights. Yeah, Torb, Symmetra, Total Mayhem, Junkrat plays, things like that, I would imagine. So, probably more so Torb, turrets than anything.
Yeah.
Just based on the fact that more times than not, that player's usually dead, and that, they just happen to get 2 or 3 kills because, no one's bothering to hit the turret, things like that.
Yeah, unless you're, was that Meko? Not Meko. Hotba. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
So this past week, and this is a genius play, is they wiped the Excelsior wiped the other team, but they had a turret here, but they didn't destroy the turret. Hotbutt just stood in front of the turret, and Jonak just sat there healing him while the rest of the other team was just dead. So because the turret was up and Hoppa was just taking the damage, not dying, just kept getting healed, Jonak got an extra 30 some odd % ult charge.
Nice.
while the other team was dead. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of genius.
I mean, not now he's like in any danger of like dying in that situation either.
No, he's not. He's basically just being like, here's a bunch of free alt charge.
Mm-hmm.
So, big brain move.
Absolutely. So outside of that, we do have a new competitive season for Deathmatch. This is Season 3 that is officially underway, and it will be going through June 10th. So that is, the free-for-all Deathmatch. So, you'll do your placements, you can get a little bit more competitive points towards your golden guns, all of that. I've never really done competitive Deathmatch. I'm sure if I did, my placements would probably be absolutely horrendous. And I don't even want to know what I would be ranked in at, quite frankly.
Yeah, probably not.
But anyways, looking at hero updates, quite a bit here, Ed. We do have basically the experimental card stuff that we had talked about last week getting patched through. So just as a refresher, we have the antibiotic rifle healing being reduced from 75 to 70. They also tweaked Ashe in regards to her secondary fire, where it will now reach max zoom halfway through her aim down sights instead of at its conclusion. All the Bastion stuff, really, like everything in experimental cards stay the same. Sebastian, sentry spread decreased 10%, and then the shots until max spread reduction were lowered from 60 to 40. The resource drain rate of his self repair was increased by 20%, with the healing per second increased 75 to 90. D.Va restored functionality, allowing D.Va to maintain her current aim pitch when demeching. That was kind of worded weird. Like I'm assuming like maybe your crosshairs were messed up during the demech, where it would just change the level. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
In theory, yeah, that's what it sounds like, but I legit have no idea what the hell it actually means. It was word, gibberish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Doomfist got quite a few changes that weren't anywhere prior. So the slam, when you use the ability 2 button to use them as soon as you're able to. Like, the way that these are worded are freaking weird. When landing very close or on top of enemies, the enemy will be pushed in front or away from Doomfist slightly, instead of sometimes having them end up beside or behind Doomfist. That's just a mouthful. Aerial Slam no longer has a slight acceleration time, which should make it arrive at the destination more reliably. Okay, so quality of life. I don't play enough Doomfist to know if this is just all quality of life, or if any of these are actually that major.
Yeah, I have no idea what these actually are. To me, they just sound like bug fixes.
It could be. Except it's not in the bug fixes, so
yeah,
who knows? And then there's also a few changes to like head hit volume. So with Echo, they reduce the height of Echo's head hit volume. Junkrat, as mentioned last week, the primary fire projectile maintains slightly more velocity on ricochets. Then they increase the mine projectile speed by 5. They also greatly reduce the ricochet distance off of enemy players with the mine. And then, of course, we saw the total mayhem buff, where the increases spread by 50%, as well as reduce the bomb detonation time by 0.3. May... and I'm going to do a quick side note here. I don't know if you saw Bren's tweet about this, but Bren apparently didn't know that Cryo Freeze is not actually named Ice Block. But, everyone just sees it, and they're like, oh, it's a block of ice.
Yeah.
But no one actually calls the ability's actual name, because of Warcraft.
Yeah. I mean... When you say May's cryo freeze,
you're like, what the hell is that?
People like, all right, if you were to say May's cryo freeze or May's ice block, what do you think most people would understand what it actually is?
Oh, ice block, 100%.
Exactly. So,
But it's just one of those things where even after all of this time, you know, we're 4 years into the lifespan of Overwatch, and people are still learning what abilities are.
I mean, let's be real here. We don't even call Wrecking Ball its correct name.
I mean, that's a fair
Or,
point.
like, we still call it Hammond,
Hmm.
and that is not its real name. So,
Well, I mean, to be
man,
fair though, Wrecking Ball is more the mech.
it's the actual character.
No, the actual character is Hammond.
No,
He's the one
The
who
playable-
he's the one who pilots Wrecking Ball.
the playable character is Wrecking Ball.
You know, tomato, tomato.
No, there is no tomato with this.
I'm pretty sure the internet would agree with me.
Yeah,
well,
no.
we'll post a Twitter poll.
But the thing is, they're actually physically wrong.
Well, so are the people that call Cryo Freeze Ice Block.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Like,
whatever.
go into game and select. I want you to go into game and select a character named Hammond from the character select screen.
I mean, fine.
I'll wait.
Fine, Ed. Be that way.
Yeah.
But no one is ever going to call that character Wrecking Ball.
No. Well, sometimes.
Very minimal. But anyways, getting back on track here. Moving on to Mercy, the primary fire healing was increased per second by 5, so 50 to 55. All the Moira changes got patched through, so the Biotic Orb damage radius was reduced from 5 meters to 4 meters. The orb projectile speed was increased from 16 to 20, and then the projectile duration was reduced from 10 seconds to 7 seconds. Reinhardt reduced the head hit volume, making it harder to hit him in the head from behind. That's again, like, quality of life, essentially. I
Yeah.
can't really imagine too many instances where I'm like, oh crap, I just got headshot from behind, but you know, it must happen enough for them to just look at it, or maybe they're just trying to make things more baseline with the head hit volume. If, you know, certain ones were just out of whack. And then the Zenyatta Orb of Discord damage amplification increased from 25% to 30%. Okay, that's everything, at least in regards to the balance updates. So again, you know, we've constantly talked about the rate of patches when it comes to Overwatch, and wanted to kind of like speed up the cycle, and here we go again. You know, we have the experimental card. All of this stuff getting patched through straight to live, no additional changes, and even, you know, some changes on top of what we saw, even if, you know, the majority of said changes are more quality of life based. But, you know, I'm so happy to see, you know, when it comes to the patch cycle that, you know, the dev team is actually staying true to their word, and, you know, all of this is still happening despite everything that is going on around us in the outside world.
Yeah, these patch updates and these changes are coming very fast. I know some people are like, well, they promised us fast and we're not getting it. Well, you know what? This is faster than like 90% of all games out there. So slow your roll. Like, yeah. It's just they're releasing patches and updates and changes really. And they're doing it all while at home. So, yeah, they're doing a phenomenal job in my mind.
Yeah, and if you're one of the coders out there that likes to dick around in workshop mode, I'm not going to read all of these because I have no idea what any of this actually means. But there were new workshop features, actions, and values added for you to fool around with. But really the big thing with this patch, outside of the balance changes is the anniversary event. So as I mentioned, when you log in, you get that golden loot box, which guarantees you get a legendary. And the event does run until June 9th. Now, in the arcade mode, obviously you're going to have like seasonal events happening. Those will kind of get rotated in and out throughout the event. So, check back every day or two. I'm sure they're going to be rotating at least one of the cards in particular, if not more than that. But we do have quite a few new cosmetics that we need to talk about. So we got, I think, was it 5? I think 5 legendary skins.
Legendaries, yeah.
So starting from the top, we have the Little Red Ash skin, which, as I hoped for, is Little Red Riding Hood, and Bob is the Big Bad Wolf. Now I will say this: when I looked at the Ash model, and I saw that scar, and I was like, wait a minute, this is 100% Ciri from the Witcher series. It's dead on. When it comes to the scar, when it comes to the hair color, all of that. But Bob, he's not just the big bad wolf. He's also the wolf dressed up as Little Red's grandmother. Fantastic.
Mhm.
I think that really put that particular skin over the top. Now, we also got some other skins. We got the Dragoon Mercy, which happens to be a dragon skin. And I've seen a lot of people not really liking that one for some reason. What do you think about that one in particular?
I mean, I don't mind it. I'm also of the belief that Mercy has gotten too many skins in the game, and they need to stop that. But that's just me. You know what? It's one of those things everyone wants. You hear it, the Dragoon skin, and everyone has their own thoughts on what exactly it should look.
Right.
And if it's not that, then they're going to be pissed. And it's typical Reddit fashion. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's just a crapshoot. Like,
right.
I don't know. I like it, but I'm not gonna. It's not one I'm gonna go out and buy.
I will say earlier today, and I don't know where I saw this. It was either on Twitter or on Discord. I saw a fan art that was of Mercy in the Dragoon skin and Genji. Genji was drawing his dragon blade, and then it
on Twitter.
It had Mercy's face in this skin, and I thought, you know what? They should have made that happen.
Yeah, it was. I saw that same thing. It was on Twitter. I think it was like Overwatch memes or something like that. But yeah, no, it's pretty. I mean, that's a pretty cool skin. I will say this, and this is pointed out to me, that in this one, if you turn her around, Mercy be thick.
Oh yeah?
Oh, like real thick. Like put May to shame thick. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like what? Like obviously it's just the outfit that she's wearing, but damn, she be thick.
Good to know.
I'm
sure. I'm sure R34 is gonna have a field day with it. Which, by the way, like community, what the f? Like there's literally nothing with hardly anything with Ash or Ciri crossover. People be disappointed.
Yeah. So the Ash skin is. So I unlocked it and I was playing a little with some friends the other yesterday. And I'm like, honestly, Ash looks like that slutty 19-year-old college girl dressed up for Halloween. Like that is what she looks like. Like she's like, I don't know, what should I be? And it's like, I know. Slutty Little Red Riding Hood. And Ash went that route.
Yeah, it's
because
like
I'm pretty sure her skirt could not get shorter.
yeah.
So
It's a much different version of like the Trick or Treat, Little Red that Anna Paquin had played, because that one is more, a lot more formal. It's not one of the sexy ones like the Cinderella and the Bo Peep characters
Yeah.
in that movie. So outside of that,
Mhm.
we do have, I have to say, like, I really enjoy most of the legendary skins we got with this event.
Same here.
We got the Masquerade Reaper, which is honestly, exactly what we had expected. We also got a Submarine Wrecking Ball skin. And I have to say, like, this one really does it for me. Hammond has a very distinguished mustache.
He does.
Which to
It
me,
would make
perfect.
Tom Selleck proud.
Absolutely would. And it does mean at this point that all of the tanks within the game now have an aquatic-based skin. Now...
I know where you're going.
What?
Are you drinking the underwater map
No.
Kool-Aid?
No.
Okay, thank God.
I am not believing that for a second.
Because you know what everyone loves?
Underwater
map.
Yeah, underwater levels, underwater maps, underwater raids. People just love underwater zones, and if you need any proof of that, just look at World of Warcraft.
Yeah, what is that one? The worst zone in WoW history? From Cataclysm.
Oh God.
I did it. Yeah, I did it once, and I would never do it again.
Once was enough. But the Wrecking Ball skin, the mech part of it is like a submarine, and there's like, you got like the anchor, and there's like a starfish attached to it. Hammond is in like a captain's outfit. Everything about that skin is just on point, and that's definitely gonna be one that if I don't get it, will be 100% bought for me personally. Outside of that, there's one other skin, and then I'll circle back. And I'll be honest, this has a name, and it's an Aztec Zenyatta skin.
Yep, nobody can actually pronounce it.
It's like, I don't even effing know. I'm trying to look up the pronunciation of this, and I played it about 20 times, right? And I was like,
Nope.
I still don't get it. It's like Litsi Lapochli or something. I don't even know if that's even close, but whatever. It's an Aztec Zenyatta skin, which I also really enjoyed when I saw it. But, looking at the legendary landscape of these skins, you have our particular favorite out of the lot here, Ed.
Little Red Riding Ash. Like, Little Red Ash is hands down the best. And that's not even up for debate.
Yeah.
Now taking that one out of, because that's like the automatic number one. I actually like the Zenyatta one. Although I won't buy it because I'm a little burnt out on the look. And this is something for me. If you play Horde in World of Warcraft right now,
Okay.
basically this is exactly what my mage wears. Like, this is what Zandalari tribe like gear looks like.
Okay. Yeah, you'll have to send me a screenshot of that so I can see like a side by side.
Yeah, so it's like it's not identical, but they're very similar. So I'll send you a screenshot of that. So it's like I really like it, but I'm burnt out on the look. Yeah. They're all really good. I'm not as hyped for the Masquerade Reaper as I think a lot of people are. And I would get excited about the Hammond one if I played Hammond.
Really? You're gonna use Hammond now, huh?
Yeah.
Way to contradict yourself.
Hey, I never said I wouldn't use it. I'm just saying that's not his real name. That is definitely something that I would probably use. They had some good emotes too.
They did have a couple. I'll get to emotes in a second because I do want to talk about the epic skins really quick. Now, with the events, it does mean that they did bring back the weekly challenges. Now, so this will, tie into the, whole win 9 games during a week and unlock, a spray and a skin and a player icon, whatever order it is. I can't remember what order it is. Obviously, the skin is at the end for the 9 wins. But each week it will rotate. We have a Masked Man McCree skin, Carbon Fiber Sigma, and the Fleur de Lis Widowmaker skin. So I was looking at the McCree one, and I was like, McCree is going like Lone Ranger type vibes with the mask.
Kind of is.
And then I didn't understand what his belt acronym was for, because it's not BAMF in that one.
What is it?
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Like, I'm looking at it, but it's not zooming in for me. It's like YSB, something YS are the two middle.
I'm trying to see if I can find a clear enough image. This could be problematic. Either way, I didn't know what it meant, but hopefully someone out there will let us know. Yeah, all the images I'm finding are not big enough to actually zoom in on. Now again, like with Carbon Fiber, you know what to expect. It's black and gold, very reminiscent of the Dynasty colors.
He has shoes, though.
He does have shoes, which is important to note.
He has shoes in this.
Because, it's always a big deal with Sigma. As to whether or not you can see his feet.
Yep.
But I will say, like, I did really enjoy the Widowmaker skin. The colors do echo, Fleur de Lis in regards to the coat of arms colors, which, was used by the Royal Arms of France. So, good accents in regards to that skin in particular. But I don't know if I would use the Carbon Fiber or the Lone Ranger one over, say, like, Americree. But all in all, like, for epic ones, I think, the Fleur de Lis one is probably the best out of the lot in that regard. Probably the only one that I'd probably use.
Yeah, and the Carbon Fiber one for Sigma is actually one you might see a lot of, because Sigma has not gotten a lot of skins. So this is one of the few that people can actually get that aren't randomly in loot.
Yeah, because I thinking back, like, I think it's only, like, major one was probably, like,
Christmas.
the White Walker one. Which was Christmas.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm looking at all these skins for anniversary events. Like, across the... Man, they did such a good job. Every year, there's just... Like, I'm just looking at last year's. They have the Academy Diva, Gargoyle Winston, Honeydew May, Toxic Roadhog. The year before, they had Formal Doomfist, Sherlock McCree, Bill Grat. Like, they had a lot of really good ones.
Yeah, and what I really appreciate about the anniversary event when it comes to the skins in particular is just the variety that you get. Because it's typically the event that gets the skins that really won't necessarily fall into too many categories that would be, tied into other events. I guess, like, the Red Riding Hood would probably have the most likelihood of getting picked up for, like, Halloween if it wasn't part of this. But the other ones, it's just kind of like, well, I don't know where else it would fit.
Like, here's a cool one, but we don't know where to put it. So, here you go. Anniversary event.
Yep.
So, but yeah, no, they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, you also had mentioned that we do have new emotes, and we do have 3 new emotes that were added. There is one for Echo called Weightless, which is kind of like a ballet-esque emote.
Yeah.
We have the Big Guy emote for Roadhog, which is a dance emote, as well as a dance emote for Sigma.
Yes. And it is creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Like the dance is basically all about his feet. Really. And the whole dance is based around like being able to look at Sigma.
It's almost as if they haven't made enough of a deal about it already,
Right?
which they already have, yet they just keep drawing attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's one of those things. Maybe this will
I
be the end
actually
of it, though.
I actually own it. Not by choice. I unlocked it.
Well, I mean, based off of some of the things happening on the birthday stream, I wouldn't be surprised otherwise. But we'll leave that in
No,
the
it's.
past.
I mean, you had to give him a dance emote because basically that's the emotes that are associated with it.
Mhm.
Everyone gets a dance, so you knew it was coming. So
Right on. But anything in particular with the event, whether like arcade mode wise that you're interested in playing, some of the seasonal ones that would be coming back with this event here?
not any one in particular.
I know what one doesn't come to mind.
All the May ones.
Yeah,
no
May
Lucio
and
Ball.
Lucio Ball.
Yeah, I won't be playing those. Like, what's the 20th? What is going to be second? No. Looks like I'm going to be getting it on the 23rd. I don't have any interest in Capture the Flag.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Friday is. So it looks like Saturday and Sunday, which is Uprising on Saturday, Retribution on Sunday.
Okay, so the mission archives.
The mission ones. And I like
Okay.
doing those the best in arcade because they're guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Lucio Ball is not.
Yeah. And
So-
like with one like that too, when there's such a long turnaround in between the last time people played Lucio Ball,
And now it's just going to be a
it makes
shit
it
show.
really rough.
Yeah. So, but you know what? We're gonna go through and we're gonna get our Sigma stuff this week, and I plan on getting at least 9 wins each week. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see where we're at. Hopefully, I can get Snake some legendary.
Yeah, I hope so. Like, because, I mean, the Submarine Wrecking Ball is definitely one that I want. I like the Zenyatta one. My only problem is, and this is a problem I have anytime there's a new Zenyatta skin that's released, I have to sit down and ask myself, would I seriously use this over the Golden Nutcracker?
Mm-hmm.
And every time that answer
Is no.
is no.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd love to have it, but it's just gonna, collect dust.
Yeah, that's why I didn't buy a lot of skins when I did this. Like, I bought a couple. I bought the Roadhog Toxic one. I
Mhm.
know I bought that. I did get the Jack-O-Lantern one for Hammond. I know I got that. Just trying to what other one I got. One or two more. I can't think of it, but I spent most of it on intros and emotes and stuff like that that
Mhm.
were really cool. That were all I would actually I got the dramatic Hammond one. I mean, you had to get that one. Made sure to get all the. Oh, I bought the Orisa Puppy one.
Which was the Christmas one?
Yeah, it was the
Okay.
Christmas one. I can't remember, but I bought I spent probably I think 10,000 current.
Oh, wow. So quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, well, 3,000 of that went to I bought little
Mm-hmm.
because there's no way. I'm not even gonna risk it, but like for some reason I just forget about it. I want to get it now, be done with it. I'm not gonna sit here and hoard and then possibly forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't get it till
Right.
next year.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out.
So oh, I bought Honeydew Mint. That's the other.
That is a good skin. That is the
Yep.
one that I use.
Yeah, I got that one last year. The two legendaries I got was Shield. The free ones I got. I got the names of them. I got Shield Maiden Brig, and then Jazzy Lucio.
Speaking of May, I saw something on one of the sites about a bug from one of her Christmas skins. The one that turns your ice block. I'm not gonna do cryo freeze. I can't do it. The one that turns the ice block into a snowman.
Snowman.
And
Okay, so that's Mary.
yeah, someone was saying that with that skin, there's an issue with the top hat falling off of the snowman.
Well, that's just Travis.
It's tragic. Like that
What the hell?
snowman is not complete.
No, it's not.
And there was something else about you not being able to target May when she's in her ice block if you're a friendly target. So there was that too. But just something that I thought I would note that for whatever reason decided to break with this patch. Because, you know, there's always something. You know, sometimes it's just a little bit wonkier than others.
Yeah. I will say this. The Christmas skins, as much of a Christmas fan as I am, the Christmas skins are probably the second worst. Like for events, besides the Lunar Festival. Because they try and do just stupid shit. Like, all right, like half the Christmas skins are not about Christmas. It's like Beach Rat. What does Beach Junkrat have to do about Christmas?
Well, I mean, it's summer when it's winter here, so.
Rat King Reaper?
I mean, I got nothing for you there.
Mountain Man McCree?
Wintry. That's sort of wintry.
But that's not Christmas.
Well, okay. Okay, Ed. Here's what I would say to that. If you look at the name of the event, it's not Christmas. It's Winter Wonderland. You know,
No.
half of that doesn't necessarily imply Christmas. I'm just saying.
It's Christmas. It's Christmas.
It's different than Halloween terror, okay? Like,
It's Christmas.
if you say so. To each their own. But anyways, anything else in regards to the event that you want to talk about before we close out the show for tonight?
No, not that I can think of, but just overall, great job. Overwatch on the skins and emotes and stuff like that. You killed them. You know, and keep up the good work. They're doing some, as much as negative flack as the Overwatch League is gratefully so getting.
Mm-hmm.
The actual game of Overwatch right now is in my mind in a pretty darn good spot.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. IGN gave it a 10 of 10 rating
In
in 2020.
Like, it is in a good spot.
Mhm.
Like, it's semi-balanced. The only knock you're really getting right now is queue times for DPS,
And complaints about hero pools, which is a constant.
which is about hero pools, but that only affects the top 500.
Right. But if we're
Like-
talking like quick play perspective, you know, which realistically is a large portion.
Oh, it's probably the largest
Yeah,
portion
well, by far.
of the player base is quick play and arcade.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, the game's in a very good spot. because there are very few characters that are just so god awful that you can't use them. So,
Right
so
on.
yeah, I like well balanced games. That they might have their issues, but they're at least well balanced. So that's not one of the issues. Apex is in that same boat right now. The game right now is actually phenomenally balanced, but there are issues regarding the game, like the like the you know behind the scenes coding and stuff like stuff breaking. But like balance wise, the game is right on, which is probably the hardest thing to do.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, let's go ahead and close out the show for tonight. So if you guys want to help us out, please do us a favor, head on over to iTunes and write us a review. Let us know how we're doing. I mean, we're, 211 episodes in at this point. If you've stuck around with us for a while, you might have something to say, even if it's words of encouragement or, show suggestions, anything like that, please let us know. We are always open ears. If you guys are looking to support our podcast network, you can do so via Patreon, where we have tiers starting at just $1 a month. You can find more info on our Patreon page at patreon.com/OWL Network, where you too can join the likes of our master and above patrons, Daniel, Owl, Kesha, Agent Life, and 044 in helping our network grow. And of course, outside of that, there are a number of different ways how you can contact us. So, Ed, please let our listeners know how they can do just that.
All right, so you can reach us through email at hndoverwatch@gmail.com. We are on Twitter, and that's at hndoverwatch. We do have a website that we go off of, and that's www.owlnshow.com. We are on YouTube, and our YouTube channel is youtube.com/Overwatch League Network. We are on Discord, so come join us over there at discord.me/show. We are streaming presently live on Twitch at twitch.tv/OWLNshow. We are a Twitch affiliate, so help support the show by subscribing to our channel and earn our network emoticon. Podcast Network does stream pretty regularly. So on Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific, we have Overwatch League Network. On Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, we have OWL by the Numbers, our fantasy Overwatch podcast. On Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, we have this show, Heroes Never Die. And then on Thursdays, we have Tavern Tales. It's a Hearthstone Battlegrounds podcast where it is actually streamed over at twitch.tv/Tavern. You can contact me personally on Twitter at Edinar83 or on Twitch at twitch.tv/Edinar. Totem, where can they reach you?
Well, you can tweet at me over on Twitter. That is at TotemlyDrunkCTR. And when I do stream on Twitch, that would be at twitch.tv/TotemlyDrunk. And Ed, I just gotta say, we're very close to the end of an episode, right? And there's one thing that you haven't done.
I didn't mute myself.
You haven't accidentally forgotten to unmute yourself. So kudos. We finally did it.
During dropping spicy last night, I did it 3 times.
Perfect. Well, you know what? You're just balancing out. So I appreciate you being spot on our show and not necessarily the other show. That's besides the point, though. I just thought I would point that out. And, I was thinking, am I going to jinx him in the process? Turns out,
you would have asked me that and I would have been muted.
Yeah, and I would have been like, oh, god damn it. So on that note, guys, enjoy the anniversary event. Go get your Ashe skin and check out how dubby thick Dragoon Mercy is, apparently.
We're going on, you're going to look at this when we're done recording.
Well, I'm just curious now, because you brought it up. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the event, and we'll see you then.
Yep, have a good one.